Welcome to Ethiopia Today. Our today's presentation focuses on the resurgence of the Northern Ethiopian War. We provide in-depth expert analysis and invite you to stay tuned and follow our presentation carefully as we closely explore the conflict and compiled recommendations that we believe will allow the country to overcome all the challenges it has faced and continue victoriously. Like and share the video and support the channel so that we reach out to more audience as much we can. And also don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if this is your first time. Then you won't miss out the exciting and very important videos we bring to you. Let's get into the presentation. Vicious cycle of government's failed peace endeavors and the path forward. The federal government's peace initiatives seems to be over once again after the rebels launched multi-front attacks on the bordering Amhara and Afar regions. This is a tragic news for all Ethiopians and friends of Ethiopia, but expected. Given the recent TPLF statements, its resistance to the peace process, and heightened disinformation warfare sadly all pointed to this, Professor Ann Fitzgerald tweets. An inevitable outcome in the face of international community's silence, the unequal application of sanctions and a one-sided ceasefire. Recently, a widely spread video message via social media by Debretsion Gebremichael, rebels leader, heard warning all able-bodied person should join the fighting or they will face consequences. The speech he made in Tigrinya is translated as, Tigray will only be for those who are armed and fighting. Those who are capable of fighting but do not want to fight will not have a place in Tigray. In the future, they will lack something. They will not have equal rights as those who joined the fighting. We are working on regulation. Those who do not join the struggle will lack something forever, according to the head of rebellion forces. This latest Gebremichal's war mobilization message came barely 2 weeks after a US and European Union envoys met with TPLF leaders in Mekelle, where they spent some time together. So his war campaign at the midst of the federal government's humanitarian truce and peace endeavors without preconditions obviously shows that there is some sort of mutual consensus between the two sides during their Mekelle's meeting, says our political room analyst Billy. This won't be just coincidental. It was well thought and purposeful act, Billy adds. The group's such step is easily predictable. Their false propaganda and actions they would be taking are foreseen. Whether dictated or otherwise, TPLF clearly knows where and when to press the peace talks door exit button, Billy continued. It's so regrettable to see such glimmer of hope has faded away in such manner. Before or after the Tigray war started, the federal government has taken several similar initiatives and measures to restore peace, stability and unity of the nation. But all in vain, as they have only been one-sided endeavors. The war broke in November 2020 when the TPLF launched what they call it as a lightning attack on the northern command of the Ethiopian National Defense Force based in Mekelle. Resistance soldiers were slaughtered by vehicles inhumanly driven over them. The group committed the Micah Dera genocide, which claimed the lives of over 700 civilians from ethnic Amhara. Women and girls raped, property trashed, land destroyed, livestock looted, and several thousands displaced. The fight calmed within the last 6 months after the federal government declared the humanitarian truce. On August 23, 2022, letter signed by Tigray leader Debretsion Gebremichael being shared with the Associated Press said Tigray leaders had conducted 2 rounds of confidential face-to-face talks with senior military and civilian officials, the first confirmation of direct talks. But it said unacceptable conditions have been inserted into the peace process and urged the international community to step in quickly. Oh, yeah. Urging the international community, or the US, to step in quickly. According to Billy, TPLF has always wanted the American administration to sit on the driving seat of the peace process. But this idea will never ever happen, as it is clear where the journey would be heading and end up. The outcome would be disastrous not only for Ethiopia but for the entire region of the Horn, Billy underscores. The Abiy's government is smart enough not to let the Biden administration to play hybrid role on this crucial matter. You can't be both sponsor of the other party and claim to be remedy finder and negotiator, says Billy. After all, the US's track records have not been impressive when it comes to peace and stability of other nations. No doubt that geopolitics is behind the scene in the Ethiopian war. Most scholars in the field even went on to say that Ethiopia's conflict has been designed by US. Recently revealed intelligent document by New Zealand-based news website Scoop shows that there is a clear conspiracy of the America's administration against Ethiopia. The document appears to be a briefing to the security officials about a security threat posed by from offensive military training operations being conducted in Uganda on behalf of the TPLF rebels. This document was believed to be from a reliable source, and United States and Egypt have been behind the Tigrayan rebel forces. Particularly the American administration had secretly allocated millions of dollars of the taxpayers' money to such destructive and divisive purpose. This is just an iceberg of the US leaders' terrorist group sponsorship role against Ethiopia and its democratically elected government, Billy explains. Moreover, it can be recalled from the past reports that foreign nationals were directly involved in the Tigray War, evidenced from their dead bodies. On Wednesday, the day when the war restarted, the Ethiopian Air Force said it had shot down a plane known to be carrying weapons for the rebel Tigray People's Liberation Front (TPLF). According to Commander of Ethiopian Air Force Major General Yilma Mardasa, the plane had encroached on the country's airspace via Sudan. The airplane, which violated the country's airspace from Sudan, believed to be a property of historical enemies who want Ethiopia's weakness and for years have been supporting TPLF, the media report adds. In conjunction with the war in Ethiopia, the other country in focus apart from the US is Egypt. Egypt got its hand directly or indirectly partly because of the building of GERD by Ethiopia, Billy explains. So it won't be surprising if the shot-down weapon-carrying plane was a property of Egypt or its soldiers are getting directly involved in the war against Ethiopia. On Wednesday, the United Nations said that the TPLF armies forcibly entered a World Food Programme warehouse in the regional capital Mekelle and looted 12 fuel tankers kept ready for badly needed humanitarian aid. The group also reported to have imprisoned the UN staff who resisted the looting. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said he was deeply shocked by the resumption of fighting and called for an immediate ceasefire and resumption of talks along with the full guarantee of humanitarian access to people in need and the re-establishment of public services. The full guarantee of humanitarian access to people in need? Or the full guarantee of aid access to the terrorist brutal group? The UN chief's messages were directed towards both parties instead of condemning the offending side directly, says Billy. But this time, the world body publicly voiced against the looting incident at least. Last year, when the federal government declared the unilateral ceasefire, TPLF performed a large-scale diversion of humanitarian aid to its atrocity purposes. Over 1,000 UN humanitarian aid trucks entered into Tigray, disappeared and used in the fights by TPLF. No reports came out of the massive institution of the globe though, Billy continued. Billy also questions the silence of Tedros in the TPLF's warehouse looting incident. The World Health Organization WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus heard recently playing the race card against the federal government of Ethiopia. He totally violated the global institution's code of conduct by politicizing his position in order to push terrorist propaganda. Tedros said that racism is allegedly the reason why the West has scaled back its public support for the TPLF. In his words, "I haven't heard in the last few months any head of state talking about the Tigray situation anywhere in the developed world. Anywhere. Why? Maybe the reason is the color of the skin of the people in Tigray," Tedros claims. However, he's chosen to silence himself now when such cruelty and banditry acts committed against his Tigrayan people by his own terrorist organization, Billy underscores. At the latest development, TPLF claimed that the Ethiopian Air Force bombed a kindergarten in Mekelle and killed several children as part of the latest round of fighting. The government communications service defended the state's reputation by revealing that the terrorist TPLF has begun dumping fake body bags in civilian areas in order to claim that the Air Force attacked civilians, which is consistent with what that group's done since November 2020. We are coming into the final part of our presentation, the recommendations. What is the path forward for Ethiopia's conflict? It is widely acknowledged that the Biden administration is not comfortable with Abiy's integrity and his government's principled approaches of bilateral relations. These principled approaches are aligned with mutual interest and respect, so they don't want to see stable and united Ethiopia under Abiy's leadership, and that is why the US leaders are behind every scene of conspiracy against Ethiopia as explained earlier. Obviously, Ethiopia as a nation has faced with challenges. Having already overcome multifaceted obstacles so far, the country is rising and on its final juncture. Whenever there is war, Ethiopians always come out victoriously. The solution for the problem of Ethiopia is within Ethiopians themselves. No outside solution can fit. Unity for Ethiopia is a milestone for this very reason. Ethiopia Today official channel is primarily created to promote Ethiopia's unity. Our breathe is Ethiopia and its unity. A nation with glorious history and culture of 3,000 years. Ethiopia today has no more language and voice than Ethiopia. Our Tigray brothers and sisters, peace to you, and we all love you so much. We call you to save yourselves from this brutal terrorist group. For over 30 years, TPLF abandoned you as it fully engaged in looking after itself and its sponsors. It is unfortunate that the TPLF has built a wall of enmity with your neighboring brothers and sisters from Amhara and afar. People of Tigray, the sufferings on you particularly have been manifold. Resist intimidations from TPLF. Enough is enough. Yes, your sufferings are manifold, your contributions are too, for the path ahead. Let's close the presentation by highlighting the Prime Minister Abiy's statement of November 2021. All of us are entrusted to keep the meaning of independence embedded in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is above every one of us. We rather die so that Ethiopia lives forever. All of us want to have a country that belongs to us all, which is free and fair with reputable history of dignity and freedom. Ethiopia is a country that has maintained its dignity and independence through the bravery and sacrifice of its children. Both friends and foes know this. Those who tried to cross Ethiopia's border saw her invincible arm. Those who eagerly came over to humiliate Ethiopia went back with humiliation. The freedom and sovereignty that Ethiopia enjoyed for thousands of years was not a gift. Freedom cannot be maintained without a price. As we know, our forefathers had differences in their governance and ideology, and in their views on rights, justice, and equality. They all had one thing common: Ethiopia. They didn't have any differences when it comes to Ethiopia and its territorial integrity, independence, and sovereignty. Despite their diversity of languages, races, and ethnic backgrounds, their unwavering determination unites them all. No matter how far apart their personal interests were, Ethiopianness comes first when a common enemy comes along. Everyone needs to work in coordination tirelessly and vigilantly to ensure Ethiopia's victory. The name Ethiopia is the name of the winners, a symbol of freedom. Unity for Ethiopia. Ethiopia prevails. Thanks for staying with us. Don't forget to like, share, post your comments, and subscribe to our channel. These are the ways you can support Ethiopia Today Official to continue producing this and similar content. May God Almighty bless Ethiopia and its people. Thanks again.